Toast makers, shot takers, and y'all know my favorite. Puff chasers, this is your grace. Sir Bradley Ashton back with another installment of I Got Five on it. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. Help a brother out. Help me get my subscribership up. If y'all like the content, make sure you share it with anybody that has an XY chromosome into the double X's. Y'all are welcome guests. So this news has been kind of flooding the timelines of many social media platforms. The untimely passing of Migos member Takeoff. He was tragically shot down in the wee hours of this morning around like 2:30, I think, Central Standard Time, out in Houston. He was as what the reports are saying, he was a standbyer of stray bullets. They're saying that if you've been paying attention to some of the uploads that have been coming out after his uncle, also a member of I'm about to say the Quavo, also a member of the Migos, Quavo, got into it with the guy over a dice game, and it looked like the moments before the shots rang out, it looked like the guy probably lost some of his money and was trying to win it back. I don't know if anybody has ever participated in a dice game or has been a witness to a dice game. I personally don't gamble, and I'm not gonna ever say that it's one of those reasons, but I'm glad I don't have that spirit because I've seen games, card games, dice games, dominoes, where you get a whole bunch of Negroes and a whole bunch of money and alcohol and emotions stirred up. Some bad shit can happen. And it looked like the brother was trying to get his money back, because there's always a trap in a lot of those type of gambling situations that, somebody, going to scoop up money and stuff like that and trying to, win back his money. And I don't think Quavo was trying to hear that. So I think the brother was trying to, play him in a game of basketball to get his money back, and Quavo just wasn't having it. And I think one thing led to another, and the scuffle started, and firearms were brandished. I want to say Texas is also um, I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say Texas is a open carry state, so you can have guns on you or brandish, in a holster or whatever. And unfortunately, Takeoff was struck in the head, and I don't know if y'all seen that footage, which I don't understand how people are even allowed to even show people in that position like that on the internet. But again, we're living in a society where we'll sell trauma, we'll sell destruction, right? But we won't sell unity. But that's a whole nother conversation. And this event just kind of shines another light on how destructive Black culture can be to the individuals that come from it and who produces it for mass consumption. I remember telling my cousin recently, we had went to I guess you could say it's a club, lounge, restaurant type situation in the city. And I remember telling him I don't really like going to a lot of establishments that have members of the community out there because just the whole setting, the location, the music that's being played, the individuals that are walking around, the whole scenery is just very low vibrational to me. And we live in a we live in a community. We embrace a culture that overall is, low vibrating. And it's hard for me at times to want to be a part of that, as to why some individuals won't see me out in clubs, won't see me out in lounges that kind of promote that, right? And I've been listening to a lot of podcasts that have talked about the destruction of this type of music, the mindset that a lot of individuals who are rappers carry amongst the masses that has an influence on many different people. But one thing I haven't heard in a lot of conversations is elevation. Once you get to a certain position in your life, you should really be focused on elevating to another stratosphere, another atmosphere in your life. You shouldn't be a person that because you're trying to keep it real that you're stuck in arrested development. Me personally, I would believe that if you are an individual that has amassed a certain amount of wealth, that you will be willing to transform and elevate your mindset to a higher level than what it once was before, right? That's one reason why I have a lot of respect for a guy like Jay-Z. I know a lot of guys can say that he has shady business practices and he's a backstabber and things like that. Now, those things are arguable. Those things are up for debate. But one thing you can't say is that he's doing the same things in 2022 that he was doing back in 1992. He's elevated. He's moved on from a certain type of lifestyle that he lived when he was still growing up in the Marcy projects of Brooklyn, New York. He's elevated his mindset to now aspire and want to be a part of the finer things in life. If gambling was such a thing that had to be done, why not be in Las Vegas? Why not be in a environment where you can do that type of activity and you don't have to worry about the potential of firearms being brandished because somebody want to win back their money? And instead of having professionals there to sort out the money, you got hood dudes, you got street dudes that don't really understand money, that don't really understand how to be low key, that don't really understand how to just simply take a defeat, take an L and keep it pushing. When you got a generation of men who are not primarily raised by their fathers, when you have a generation of emotional men raised by women by themselves, when you have men trying to show out for a group of women that probably won't be there a year or two from now, it's just a recipe for disaster. And individuals in this space wonder why terms like SYSBM exist because you're trying to uplift or better a community that's constantly being drowned or constantly disappearing in in this proverbial quicksand that constantly promotes the worst of us instead of the best of us. And you will call an individual that will choose themselves over the community a sellout, an Uncle Tom, whatever negative connotation you want to add to this man's name, but never really understand why he did so. Because can't nothing really good come from trying to save a community that won't save itself. I remember hearing one time, I think it's in the Navy, they say that you should only save a person from drowning if they're trying to keep themselves afloat. Because if you're trying to save somebody and they're drowning and you reach out your hand to basically bring them back to shore and they pull you under, now you put yourself at risk of drowning. And when we see a lot of these situations with a lot of these rappers who are putting themselves in situations where they are drowning themselves in the very thing they was trying to escape, they're not doing themselves a service. So I just want this to kind of just be a lesson, a repeated lesson to men that once you reach a certain level, you have to move different. You have to think different. It's not just a physical thing, it's a mental thing that you have to carry as you maturate through this thing called life. You can't do the same things that you did when you was in the hood. Now that you're in a gated community, you now have to have that gated community mindset. You have to now think that you have more to lose now versus when you were just starting out. Don't work so hard to put yourself in position just to throw out away because you're trying to keep it real. This is the quintessential example of when keeping it real goes wrong. Now you have a life that's been snuffed out over foolishness. Now you have a family mourning. You have fans who are grieving the loss of a very influential artist who was a part of a very influential, musical group, regardless of genre. And it was all for nothing. It's very disappointing to see another young brother of color lose his life like that. I just hope that the ones who are still part of the living really take heed to what the Most High is really trying to say to them right now. But rest in peace to Takeoff. Condolences to his family. Condolences to his close friends, etc. And that's just my 5 cents, y'all. But make sure y'all comment if you haven't already. Like, share, and subscribe the video. And until next time, y'all. Eyes front, head out to the finish. See you through.